Yo, I'm back. This is the foul-hooked Whitey. Today's rant is getting my balls kicked in on the north coast of Oregon. Last week, I got to fish 2 out of 3 scheduled days with whom's got to be one of the best fly guides for Chinook salmon in the Pacific Northwest. This guide's name is Jesse Sampson. And he's basically a comparable freshwater permit guide, because that's what fishing for Chinook king salmon are with flies in freshwater on the north coast of Oregon. This has become a real passion for me with marginal success. But before I talk about any of that, fly fishing Nielsen ratings came in. And apparently, according to the Nielsen Corporation out of Los Angeles, California, East Rosebud Studios, the foul-hooked Whitey, has achieved a -2 listenership. And, you know, when I saw this report, I immediately contacted the Nielsen Corporation and I said, yo, how in the fuck could we have negative listenership? That means 2 humans that don't exist didn't listen to us, but they were recorded as not listening to us. And the Nielsen Corporation, you know, did some analytics and came back with, apparently this podcast has gotten so fucking boring and bad that not even my bloodsucking ex-wife and her attorney will listen to it. So we can only go up from here. Last week, I fished easily one of my top 3 favorite places to fish on the planet. I fished the Caribbean a lot. I fished South America, Canada, a lot in the U.S., and this location is a top 3 for me as far as angling excitement with a fly, as well as habitat enjoyment. I'm not going to say where I fished, because literally from the coast of southern Oregon all the way up to the Oregon-Washington border, there's dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of freshwater streams that dump directly into the Pacific Ocean. And they get a steelhead, a silver, a coho, and my fancy, a king Chinook salmon run. And 10, 12 plus years ago, I was on vacation, and of course I had to fish. And this is where this passion became a big deal to me in my angling calendar. Fishing for Chinook salmon on a fly, swinging a fly, is absolutely as tough as fishing for permit, which I've done a lot of. I've had success on these fisheries in this northern Oregon coast area, fishing with, like I mentioned earlier, Jesse Sampson. But more times than not, you're going to get your balls kicked in. And I saw this up close because when I was there last week, the water conditions on this one fishery that we fished 2 out of 3 days was perfect. Jesse and I went into the first day, which was a Tuesday, with everything going for us. It was me. It was just Jesse. It was my pooch. I mean, water conditions were ideal on this fishery, according to Jesse. Clarity, flows, weather, and that includes temperature, wind. Everything was perfect. I mean, it's sized up for me to get my Chinook, my king. And as I swung my favorite fly in this fishery, which is a tutti frutti clouser, It's a Clouser minnow with a 2-aught hook that's fucking tied in like sherbet colors. I've caught great kings on this same fishery on that fly. So we fish these areas of holding water, and once you put in, you're basically going to get rowed down to ideal spots. When you're fishing for Chinook, at least with Jesse, there's none of this like casual fucking cast and swing or cast and strip and just anywhere that looks like good holding water to a fucking trout fisherman. It's not like that. It's more pointed based on knowledge from my guide as to where these Chinook, these beautiful blackmouth kings, hold on their journey up to their spawning bed to spawn and die. You're catching them en route. And that is where Jesse's expertise in game comes in, because he gets me swinging in the spots. It's obvious shit in the sense that it's good stuff, but kings are... The best way to describe a king salmon is kings are mean. They're mean fuckers. They look mean. They eat mean. They fight mean. Chinook is king. So that's why I've fallen in love with this experience, because of this species of fish. I'm not a steelhead guy. I'm not even a coho, a silver guy. But I'm a Chinook guy. So I go through this first morning, and I'm really fishing well. I mean, it's not a brag. It's more just I'm putting it there. This fishery is about the size of a Gallatin River or Stillwater River with some volume in it. Maybe you can cross here and there, and this perfect water means I could get my fly into these deep, dark holes where these mean fish, Chinook salmon, hold. And you're just looking for a biter. You're not going to fucking tear it up, but you're looking for a biter. And Jesse knew there were fish in the system from the week before. So odds are good I was going to get one today. This fishery is surrounded in steep, vegetative northwest jungle. I'm not an elk hunter, but there's Roosevelt elk in these mountains that feed these fisheries, which, by the way, are 100% rain provided as far as water. No snow melt at all. It's all fucking rainwater. But it's almost like you're in like a Disney Jungle Land ride. It's almost fantasy with just the fern growth and the moss and the aged trees to varied species. The waterfalls. Fuck. And because it's elk season there in Oregon, we had this fishery in 2 days all to ourselves. Not another floater, not another boater, and not one bank fisherman, which makes this experience almost kind of surreal. So day one, beautiful weather, great conditions. I fish hard all fucking day. And I don't get one bump. And, like I said earlier, I really was fishing well. This is not an easy place to fish with a one-handed rod. I mean, even though you're fishing from the raft 80, 85, 90% of your day, you still have to be very conscientious of your back casting room. I mean, your ability to roll cast at certain times. I mean, the whole thing it's a tough technical fishery with a one-handed rod, because most people aren't going to be able to cast it where they need to because of that difficulty. And that's all because of overgrowth. This is by size, not a two-handed fishery. I'm not saying it couldn't be fished effectively at times, but it's generally not that. But I'm I'm a back casting caster. I mean, it's taken me a while to get decent on these fisheries and adjust to not having any back casting room. But what the technique on this is not some fast strip for a king salmon. This is a total swing. The whole thing is best served on a swing. And I love to do that. I don't do that a majority of my trout days. I don't. I'm definitely a stripper when it comes to trout and streamers. But with kings, I mean, you got to swing your fly. Same with silvers. And that's hypnotic shit. That's intense. That's to get a good swing going and to be able to keep that tight contact, subtle strip going, that feel. That for all of the fishless hours that you endure swinging flies for Chinook salmon, when you do finally get that moment of your line stops, and as soon as you get that first pull in it to secure that, to tighten that, you feel that reaction. That's the best fishing experience I've had. It's just right up there with the fucking permit just ate my fly. What? It actually ate it? That's this kind of fishing for kings. It's like when it happens, it's a beautiful surprise. It's a beautiful reward. You just have to work your balls off to get to that point. But swinging and having that experience of the hookup is why swinging is such a chocolate cake for discerning anglers. And I'll call it discerning because, and Jesse can validate this, my guide, is that it's to catch a fish on a swing it's the ultimate application of sport in fly fishing. I really feel that way. I have no experience at all with a two-handed rod, so I've never had that experience when it comes to true steelhead or other larger water salmon fishing. But the thing about it is that if you fish the swing, getting an eat on the strip up once your bug is now done swinging and directly downstream from where you're standing or where you're in your boat, that's another part of it that's like almost like you're unwrapping a present, tear by tear by tear on that slow strip upstream to you. They'll follow and eat it. Unfortunately, all of this angling erotic I'm talking about right now, because it is a turn on, let me tell you, it didn't fucking happen on day one. So, finally at about 1:30, 2 o'clock, I have my first break off of the day, whatever. I looked at Jesse and I'm like, should we retie? We got about a half mile, but there's a spot or two. We got a half mile till we're out, so our day's pretty much done. But there's a spot or two. Maybe not even a half mile, but, and he looks at me and he says, what do you think? I'm like, I don't think so. And he says, I think sometimes you just have to accept when we get whooped. And that's how we closed out day one. Day two had a little bit more drama. No weather necessarily coming in, but definitely some rain. The other drama part of it was that, on day two, I brought the bait man with me. That's right. I brought my brother. And, I've never fished with my brother except floating on the North Coast for salmon, and we'd only done that once before, and we didn't catch shit on that trip. But here's the deal. As soon as I said to Jesse, yo, I'm going to bring my brother tomorrow if that's okay, he didn't even say yes or no. All he replied was simply, fly or gear. And I went, gear. And he replied, done. So day two of getting my balls kicked on the North Coast, I'll talk about that up next. That's it for episode 1. I am the Foul Hooked Whitey. I'm out.